Web3. It's going down. It's actually down. Hello all and welcome all. I'm your host, Boo. And today we have a jam-packed show for you with a great special guest. Tune in. Yo, hello everybody, and welcome everybody. Man, my guest is excited today. Jane, just hold on a second. We got a 2-minute intro to get with it. We hear you fine. We hear you great. There's no echo. We're excited for that. Yo, if you're here, go ahead, like the room, retweet the space out. We're live on X. We're live on YouTube, baby. Check us out. We're looking good. We're looking fresh. And with that, this is episode 48. We've made it. We're here with episode 48. Shout out to my incredible co-host, JPEG J. Doing incredible things producing the show. She's got everything on the YouTube over there, guys. If you have YouTube Premium, you can mute yourself on YouTube Premium, watch it, and listen to us on X. You can do it all on your phone, okay? With that, let me get with the red tape, okay? If you're a first-time listener, maybe, first-time caller, you know what I'm saying? This is a 1-hour show. We keep it laser focused on our guests. The first half hour dedicated to our guests where we ask them some questions, get to know a little bit about them. You know, a lot of people don't know who Jane is, and I'm excited to bring Meta Empress up here. And with the last 30 minutes, it's an open mic Q&A. Anybody who wants to come up, ask some questions, throw some flowers, keep it respectful. And did I mention we're on YouTube Live again? Because it's incredible. You can do both, and I do both, and I love it. And you stay engaged, you stay focused. With that, we had a poll out last week. We got results in. I want to check on my co-host, JPEG J. How are you today?
Hey, doing really good. Hello. So last week's poll was about IP, since we were speaking with David Horvath, and the results are hilarious because the question is, did you know anything about IP before you entered Web3? And the winning result is, yes, I'm an IP expert.
Sounds like these DGens would say that. Jeez. And you know what? That's spot on for Web3. Thank you so much, Jay, for that. And with that, we'll probably have another poll that's on topic. So with that, I want to give a big warm welcome to Meta Empress, who I met here on the timeline. We jumped in each other's DMs. We jumped on a one-on-one call. We went to a couple IRL events together. Now we're collaborating on an IRL event this month, the 27th. It's going to be incredible. With that, I want to give a big warm welcome to Jane. How are you today?
Hey, I'm so happy to be here. We've been planning this for like a month, ever since I really met you. So just happy we're making it reality and excited to hang out with you for the next hour.
Thank you so much. And I'm sorry I was like muting you there. I'm sorry I didn't give you that little bit of insight in the beginning. But you know what? That keeps it fun. That keeps it spiffy up here, right? So, Jane, I want you to tell us, and is it okay if we call you Jane or Meta
Oh
Empress?
yeah,
How does
no,
that break down?
I go by Jane. I'm fully doxxed. Like Meta Empress is sort of like my alter ego. Like it's like the most grandiose version of myself, and I love that vibe for the internet. But I go by Jane.
Hell yes, guys. And Jane is looking fresh today. She's looking great. We have the whole setup here.
Wait. You have
And
to say hello
we
to this guy.
we got a pup on the screen. If you're a dog lover, go check it out. And this dog actually has a .eth. You know what I mean? Jay has shared all that. She's pinning stuff as we go. So there's a lot to cover here. So Jane, let's just back up here a little bit. Do you mind telling us who Jane is and like what your backstory is before you even got into Web3?
Yeah, absolutely. So I grew up outside of Boston in a town called Newton, Mass. Yeah, and then after that, I went to college in Chicago. I went to Northwestern, and my background is actually in journalism. Like when I was in college, I wanted to like work on wrongful conviction case, become an investigative journalist. And after I graduated, my first job was at NBC, and I was working for the TV show Dateline. Do you know that? Like the murder mystery true crime show.
No, tell us more about it. I love murder mystery. I'm a forensic files geek, and I love mystery. What is it? The mystery one. So please tell us all about it, as if I wouldn't know.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a pretty known show. It's been around for 20 years. It's the kind of thing where it's like it goes through the plot of like, someone was murdered. It's like sort of a who done it. It's usually some relationship close to the family. So I used to do like story development. So if there's ever a crime, like I would research it and be like, would this make an interesting TV show? You'd see if they'd be good guests. So it was super fascinating to me. But I think the biggest takeaway from that is I found working in TV, I learned so much, worked with incredible people. However, it was very old school, right? Like the TV industry hasn't changed that much. And I've always been fascinated with how technology could enhance storytelling. So when I was working at Dateline, they sort of asked me, "Oh, hey Jane, you're young. Can you help us with Twitter? We're live tweeting the show now. Like this is this new thing for us. Can you write for digital? We don't really know how to use this website." And I realized that the best chance I had of accelerating my career at a young age would be understanding and learning about tech. So that's like the only thread I could swing, because otherwise my career seems like it has so many twists and turns. But yeah, after that I worked at a company called Cheddar, which was, in 2018 we actually had a show called Crypto Carries. We had an esports show, and those two foundations, learning about them back in 2018, 2019, really set me up for success when I first started learning about, Web3 and what was going on there. And I was also early on Clubhouse back in 2020. So that sort of gives a little bit, but feel free to ask me more questions and I could dig deeper into anything.
Wow, I mean that's just so much to cover there. And like when you guys look at Jane's Twitter profile, it's incredible the things that she has done. NBC, USA Network, she talked about Dateline there, and then it looks like you were just out here, hanging out with Lil Wayne out at the U.S. Open. You know what I mean? Jane also was did a Mercedes event this Sunday. Jane, you seem to be like you just are plugged in. You know what I mean? Did this happen back in like when you were going to school? Like tell us, like you kind of like just have this energy about you. For me, for example, like I just love working with you, and it seems like, do you get these connections because of that, or is it because of other things?
I love that question. I mean, genuinely, I think of myself as such a like an extrovert and a people person, and I love getting to know people. And that's sort of been my motivating factor throughout all of my career. And yeah, I mean, I think if you're a friendly person and if you view everyone as value, good connections come your way. And I think a big mistake that people make is, and it's like the opportunistic sort of viewpoint where like, what could this benefit me? And I think this is the reason why me and Boo or Bo vibe so hard, is because we both were like, you know what, we're just gonna do something cool for the community. We were never thinking in the back of our head, what is this gonna get me? And I think the more you give without the expectation of getting in return, everything comes back to you. And I'm so grateful for all the opportunities. And the only thing I could say is I've just been meeting everyone, and every single person you meet has value.
I couldn't agree more. And yeah, that's something that we've talked about in multiple meetings we've had about, is always like, we don't want anybody to come to any of these events that we put together feeling that they've been like, that someone's put a hand in their wallet. You know what I'm saying? So let's go to like Artifact here. So like, you're a clone, I'm a clone. How did you get into the project? You know what I mean? How did it get on your radar? Tell us about it.
Yeah, so I mean, I was actually got into the project through Mark Kessler, who is my business partner in a company called Davita, which we're still developing, but more quietly. We were building digital jewelry, and when we first thought of the brand was really built around the Artifact ethos. Like I knew about Artifact, and I was sort of like a fan of the project, but that's when I first got in and got my own clone. And I mean, I've also been a huge Nike girl my entire life. Like, I wish I could show you my shoes right now. I'm not wearing them because I'm at my own apartment, but like everything in my closet is Nike. And I just love that they're kind of on the intersection of like fashion, but also like tech, and doing things different and have cool events. So it just sort of made a lot of sense to get involved in this community. And then I didn't really know anyone until we went to that first event that you invited me to. I don't even remember when that was. Do you remember that event at Hudson Hall or whatever?
Oh, that was actually put on by the Big Apple Apes, the Zookies, and the CloneX NYC community.
Yes.
And you know what's beautiful? I'm glad you point that out, because everybody listening right now, a lot came from that, from different people that went to that. And Jay is a witness of that too. Like a lot of different projects, a lot of different collaborations, a lot of things happen for that. So I think that's really important to point out, Jane.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I think just meeting people in the community is so important. And I think there's a big shift that I like to address from both a business perspective and like just what's happening in the world is most people got into Web3 in 2020 when we had no chance of connection. We were stuck inside, we were lonely, we were isolated, we were sad, we were frustrated, and we found, oh my God, I have my internet friends. I have people online that get what I'm going through. They live in different parts of the world. We love this project, we love this art, we can nerd out about it. But now there's been this big shift where like the world is in full force. New York, I don't know if you guys have been outside lately, but like the energy is incredible here. And now it's like I could hang out with my internet friends in real life, but like just what's happening right now. Boo and I, we work out of the same office, but he has to be at home. And tonight I was so tired, I had to take a nap in the middle of the day. So now I'm back on my computer and we get to be internet friends and share our experiences with all of you guys who are not in New York. And that is what the future is going to look like. Like, I do not believe the future is digital by any means. The future is this mixed reality where you can maintain connections through physical and digital experiences, and you need both simultaneously.
Yes, I want to go on to that. Maybe that's a hot take there. Someone's gonna come up later. Don't worry. In the midway section here, in 15 minutes, you can come up and give your hot take back. But listen, like I agree with that, because when Jay and I were out in Japan, we got to experience like Ozfest through being crypto bats holders through like the metaverse, and it's like we wouldn't normally go to that event maybe if we weren't there. So like you still get to do that. Last night when you did these two events, was there any kind of element like that where people could participate on their device from remote if they could have?
I'm not fully sure yet. So I think it sort of depends. I think there's some events where you could participate online. I think it's sort of hard to do both. I know that you guys put on an amazing experience actually during NFT NYC when we were at the bar and we had the DJ. And big shout out to Tropics over here who was DJing in person and also in the metaverse. I think that's very hard to execute right now, to be honest. And I think you did a really excellent job. But I'm not seeing that as much because I think that you do sometimes miss out on one element. Like for example, we went to an incredible event by our friends at Satoshi Closet last night, and they were showcasing, New York Culture Club's merch, where it's the NFC chip and you tap to touch. How do you really experience that online? I don't know if there's necessarily a one-to-one. So I think it's hard to execute those type of events properly, but I think there is a demand for them. And I'm pretty sure that clones are doing a big event, correct me if I'm wrong, where there's an element in Singapore and also in LA. Do you know a bit about that, either of you?
Yes. If you go to, like, everybody's been retweeting it like crazy, but yeah, if you go to what I think they just had an Artifact town hall that was just covered. Prez down there in the audience has been doing an amazing job being kind of like the cartographer, as you would say, the archivist of like everything Clone X that any of us are doing out here on the timeline, which I really appreciate, because when we're being seen, God, it feels good. When we're being seen, we're not screaming and crying because we're actually getting a headway there. And it's just incredible what we've been able to do with that. Jay's got up here your IRL event that's done that recently, where you put all this together. And Jane, I just want to know, how are you going to tie more with your clone here? Where's your filter at? What's going on with that? I'm going to throw a question back at you.
You know what? To be honest, I love eye contact. I love being a clone, but like sometimes I've been on calls with you. And I'm like, I need to see your reactions. I'm doxxed. Like I want people to get to know my face and know my expressions and know my mannerisms because I think that's so important to communication. I love my clone. I'm actually working on a really cool event with you where we're doing not only glitch art, but my very good new friend Hafid is also making custom filters with my clones. So I think there's a time and a place for both. And like I said, I think I also, I'm comfortable in both settings. I'm comfortable being online and I'm comfortable showing my face, and I want everyone to know all of me because either or is not the full Jane,
Totally. And I'm going back to your question because I listen, y'all. I listen. She wants to know about the Clone X Singapore thing. She wants to know about what's going on out in Anaheim or Unaheim, however you pronounce it out there when you're out in California, because it's important. Jay, I'm going to throw it to my producer of there. If you go to the Discord of Artifact, you can get all the links that we can pin up there or retweet the space. You know what I'm saying? Because it's important out there. Everybody's going to be out there. I believe they're doing events pretty much from Friday night on to the weekend. And then because of that, I want to just shout out real quick, Upskill ETH out here on the East Coast was going to come up this week, but then actually he got postponed. So he came up this other week, bought us Mets tickets. So now we're all going to go see the Mets. So I think that's important about IRL events. And I'm going to go back here about IRL events. Jane, you want to do this role within like Web3. What do you want to be known for in Web3 going forward?
I want to be known for what I call mixed reality experiences. I want to use the tech that we're all evolving and showcase it in real life. And I want to create meaningful connections with people that have both in person and online component. And I think in terms of what I'm most passionate about in this space is like, I love how the technology enhances creativity. So whether that's in art, fashion, or any other medium, that's what sort of keeps me here and keeps me excited. And also just like, I'm also going to plug Station 3 over here. We're working out of this incredible co-working space, and every day I meet another brilliant creative individual that just inspires me. And especially my background being like super corporate and having a lot of friends that are in more like traditional finance and consulting jobs, I feel like I finally found my people that I don't even know if entrepreneur is like the right word for it, but people that are just like creative builders and are building a reality for themselves that was never possible before. And I found that in Web3. And it's so special to me.
I think it's special too because I feel like people like yourself, I wouldn't normally be able to like communicate with, collaborate with if it weren't for Web3 because I'm a little out there. Jane knows this, you know what I mean? Like, but it's good because I'm creative. I bring a different,
Totally.
outside the box perspective. And when we were starting this, before we had this call, right? One thing is I'm punctual, I'm on time, so I do things great. But before this, she's like, "Hey, the marketer in me, get a screenshot of this, put this out there. That's important." You know what I mean? Like it's just Jay and I doing this. We're just a two-person team out here. What have you seen? I appreciate you giving me flowers on the event we did for NFT NYC. Shout out CloneX NYC again. That was incredible. Bringing it all together. It was really hard. A lot of mixed moving pieces. Again, Prez in the audience did a ton of renders for us. It's just like took a lot. You know what I mean? So shout out to the community again doing that. What have you seen that's been right? That is like, hey, this needs to be a staple in these experiences going forward. And what do you see that we can be like, we tried this, let's leave this behind?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's super tough. Like, I think exactly what you did, like having the things at two places at once, that's great. I think with experiences, there has to be a lot to do and a lot of diversion. Because I think also now there's a lot of competition for events. And it used to just be like, let's gather in real life, like, let's just meet up. And now it's kind of like, okay, that's cool. We're all at a bar, but like, now what? And we've talked about this before too. Like, I'm not really a big drinker anymore, like maybe socially here or there, but if that's the only reason to go is just like have a beer, I don't think that's enough anymore. So I want to create events that are interactive as possible. So maybe there's digital filters and you could do virtual try-ons, maybe there's clothing that you tap and connect, maybe there's rewards tracking to gamify how many experiences you've gone to. So I think we're going to be a little bit more creative to make experiences feel multi-dimensional, and then it gives more people in the room to talk and connect and feel more open because they're sort of experiencing these things together. So that's what I'm really looking forward to building is, how can you make your life so exciting and so interesting, just being present in reality or mixed reality or whatever it is.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And another thing I want to point out is like you just mentioned, Station 3. This is possible because of people like Bob Lucas being able to put us all on like one roof. Being able to see the vision, the revolutionary here. And Visceral Glitch was a former guest on the show here, teaching us that like I learned so much about glitch, and like you said, like every day somebody's teaching us something new, right? Somebody's like expanding our mind in a different way that I never would think of. And I just want to know, how did you get involved with Station 3? How did you start? How did you put your toe in that door?
Yeah, I mean, so I'm a member of Boys Club. I'm not sure if everyone knows Boys Club, but it's like yeah, feel free to pull it up. They're on Twitter, actually. So they're like a huge crypto club, mostly for the girls, but that's kind of the joke that it's Boys Club. And they throw amazing events. They just did a big Fashion Week events with Luxo, which is a chain, which was super cool. But anyway, someone posted it being like, hey, New Yorkers, this guy's giving away office space. And to be completely honest, and I think Sierra might still be listening to the call, or she was before. But I was gonna say, like, I am such a homebody at times. I have my little puppy Foxy, who's my heart and soul, and I could never imagine going back to an office because I was like, I love just like hanging out with Fox every day. I could chat with my internet friends at home. But I saw this office space and I was like, you know what? I do have someone on my team that works in New York, like maybe I should just check out what the deal is. And I met Bob and instantly loved the vision. I was like, he's creating a space for Web3 people. What's gonna hurt? There's like, it was almost too good to be true. So just for context, he was giving away 6-month free grants to teams that were building in Web3. And I've never gotten anything for free. Nothing feels like it's for free anymore in this world. Like there's always some sort of catch. And when I met with Bob and he was like, "Yeah, I really like what you're building, you know, like let's go with it." I was like, "Oh no, do I owe something? What's the hook?" And it's been incredible. And I really cannot thank him enough for giving me this opportunity. And I wish he was listening right now, but he's actually hosting a generative art event, which sometimes I wish I could literally clone myself, because I'm like, okay, I want to be on this rug radio show, and I also want to be at the generative art event, and I also want to be a million other places, but I can't. But I've really found community there with so many different types of people, and it's so special to me. And like, I feel so much more energized and motivated to keep building, to meet new people. I'm probably working harder than ever because now I'm running around hosting all these events, but it's so rewarding, and I'm just grateful.
I really feel like it's great too for you, Jane, because it seems like you've just like thrived in that space. You've just like taken off there, and you've just like filled a role that you know that somebody needed to fill. And like people always say, you know, find where value is needed, and you know, and put that value forward without like getting anything back. And you've really done it with Station 3 over there. And again, shout out Bob Lucas. Again, shout out them for Jane hooked us up with. We got that grant too. We're in there for 6 months. They're still painting out the podcast room, guys. It's getting there. This was supposed to be in person, but hey, you know, that event last night was so popping. Maybe it's a good thing that it's not in person today. And that's one thing that's important, right? We got to coordinate around all these different things. But you know, as much as we try to do that, I will remind everybody listening, you know, just start doing your own thing. You know, don't worry about stepping on too many people's toes, because sometimes you'll start something and you'll realize, hey, this isn't really for me, and like, you know, you'll save yourself time in the long run, you know. Jane, what are you so much like excited about, like to finish up the year with, or maybe in the next year? Like, is there a checklist you have? Is there like some
Yeah.
whiteboard you have that's just filled with like an arithmetic of Jane's master plan of the year?
I mean, oh, I have so many goals. I don't even know. Some of them are like more abstract. Some of them are more tangible. I think for me, like I've been sharing, is I'm really excited about some of the events I'm doing. Next week, I'm starting this series called W3, which is focused on spotlighting women in the space. And I don't know how much time I have to dive. Can I dive into this topic a little bit?
Go, you're the guest. Take all the time.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So for me, this is actually something that I'm really excited about because it's focused on women. And I think there's sort of a hot topic of what is it like to be a woman in Web3? To be honest, I have felt so supportive by my male colleagues and partners in everything. And I found that it's been a really great space to enter. But I also know some women who haven't shared the same experience as me. And it is kind of a fact that if you go to most of these crypto conferences, it is mainly men. When I go to the clone party, there's like 5 women there, which is fine. But how do we shift that? How do we make women feel more comfortable? And how do we also stop gendering things as much? So I didn't want to call this like a women's series. It's specifically called W3, where it could kind of allude to that, but it's not so specific. And I think something that I talk a lot, but it's not really noticed, is like, you know, certain terms like, oh, she's such a girl boss or female founder. Imagine if I called you, Boo, like, he's a boy boss. He's such an amazing male founder. It's like a little comical, right? So I think in the future, I'm really excited for more females to be recognized because they're the best in something, not just because of, oh, I don't want to be the best. I don't want to be the best woman in Web3 marketing. Absolutely not. I want to be the best person in Web3 marketing. You know, I don't have an ego like that, but you get what I'm saying. It's like I want to be chosen purely on my merit, not because I fit a spot of diversity on a panel. And I want to sort of flip the narrative and have all people sort of come to this panel and just realize, like, oh, wait, this feels kind of unnatural that there's all women on stage. That's how we feel every day. So just interesting there. I'm super excited about it. That's sort of on my vision board as well, is to create a space where women feel more comfortable and onboard more women into Web3. That's a huge one. You know, just events where I get to meet more people in general. I'm super excited about the event that we're hosting with Vissel or Glitch, where it's a class. Like, we're joking, it's like back to school night. We just got the room. It kind of has like sort of a projector and like tables. And I'm like, oh my God, this literally looks like my college classroom. It's going to be so fun. I want to keep learning. I think as you get older, you realize how exciting it is when you get to learn, that learning is really a privilege. So that makes me super happy. And once again, we're not focusing solely on like, oh, let's just hang out and drink. It's like, no, we're going to learn, we're going to join together, we're going to share experiences, we're going to help each other. And the biggest thing that I'm working on is I'm gearing up for Art Basel. I'm doing a huge event with Nolcha Shows, the partner that I just did a Mercedes-Benz fashion show. We're having a 2-day art experience with tons of brands. Honestly, like we're still looking for cool brands and partners. So if anyone has a brand that they would be interested in getting involved, definitely hit me up. So like literally now between the end of the year, it's kind of a sprint to Basel in my head. And like I said, I think right now, this sort of as a marketer, the services people used to be coming to me for were, can you start my Discord? Can you manage my online community? People don't really have the budget for that anymore, or they've sort of figured out how to do it themselves. Everyone was like, can you plan me a cool event? So I love events, and you, kind of as a business, you got to pivot and you got to follow where the opportunities are. So that's sort of the short story of what I'm looking forward to.
Wow, Meta Empress out here just blowing my mind, just coming with the heat, y'all. She came like she ain't reading off a notepad either. That's straight from the cranium, from the dome, you know. All of us clone X's, we're kind of smart out here. We're kind of, you know, we know what's good. We real recognize real. Man, you covered so much there that's just so incredible. And yeah, I did my best of not making it being like, hey, guess what? I finally got the F word of a guest up here on my stage, right? I've been trying to get some of those F word guests up here on my stage because I'm tired of talking to those M word guests, right? Oh my gosh, I'm trying to
Yeah.
be funny, y'all. I'm trying. But no, yeah. We just try to keep it as a person, right? Just like, and that's one thing I've even tried to do. Man, I've done my best of even not trying to share my Twitter spaces anymore in group chats to a degree because I'm like, you know what? If y'all want to come, y'all are gonna come. It's cool. Like it's all good. Like we can't be all in one place. It's like it's literally like cafeteria lunch table. It really is. Like you're gonna go eat over here with your people that you trust. Sometimes they might take a rock out of their shoe and put it in your macaroni, but those are your people. You're gonna still come back there and eat. You know what I mean? Jane, what was like like you mentioned like the good learning time, right? And like one thing is I always ask my guests this, you know what I'm saying? Before this is the halfway show. If y'all want to start requesting up to give Jane flowers, throw her some questions, ask her what is hard. You know, I would love to get to know more kind of like the perspective of her like at these events and people being like shilling because these people shill to me. I can only imagine what it's like from her perspective. So I got to ask you this question because I forgot to ask my guest last week, but I feel like he covered it because he's incredible. What is it in the space that you would like to keep the same, change, or go away? And you can pick one or all of them. It doesn't matter. Just something that like hits you in the head when I ask
I
that.
mean, obviously the scammers, they got to go. They got to go, and I think that they're gonna go because there's not an easy cash grab right now, which is very true. Like the people that are in the space, we're committed and we love it because we're not getting paid like we used to. So I think that that will go. I also think, unfortunately, like Web3 kind of needs a rebrand, right? Like metaverse was so trendy, and everyone was trying to be like, how can I build a metaverse? And now it's kind of like, ew, what's the metaverse? It's just sort of a bad video game. But there's some people that are building really cool, like virtual worlds or whatever you call it. So I think from a marketing branding perspective, it's like, let's give it a new term that makes people feel comfortable. And also one thing that I tell to everyone, and if you are building a Web3 product, please take this advice, is imagine if you told someone, be like, hey, I got the new iPhone. I'm not going to pick up my phone because I realize that's where my Twitter spaces are coming from. Fox is getting angry about this one. He's heated about it. Imagine if you're like, hey, I got the new iPhone. And instead of it being like it opens on Face ID, now I need 87 passwords and you need to download 2 apps and you need to do a fingerprint and you need to call 2 friends to be able to get in. People would be like, why would I use that? And in order for mass adoption to happen, you have to make tech simple. I still think there's a way that we can master both security and data ownership while also making the onboard process really simple. And I think that's sort of the biggest barrier to entry right now. And like a lot of us, including myself, I'm a huge tech nerd. I love learning about the back end, but you need to figure out how to pitch your product to someone who's not as tech savvy. And whenever it says, oh, I'm building this layer 2 chain and we're going to be able to do this, it's like, but why do I care? How can I use this? How is this going to enhance my life? So anyways, maybe that's a hot take, but I wonder if that resonates with you at all.
Oh, no, that does resonate with me. I didn't know the new iPhone you had to go through all those
No, no,
different
no, no. I'm
steps.
teasing. I'm teasing. I'm
Oh,
just
oh,
saying, like, I'm explaining in the fact that, like, any new tech that you're excited, like the reason people are excited about the new phone is like now it has Face ID versus like, versus having to enter the password, like things that are easier security, but easier entry. When first of all, like using MetaMask, that's a very complicated project. I was just trying to make an analogy to help people kind of understand like why people gravitate towards certain tech.
No, I love that. And I'm always going to be the dummy in the room so other people can come up if they want to. Because you never want to be the smartest person in the room because you never learn anything. Jay has a poll out, everybody. I believe. Jay, can I give you the mic? Are your octopus tentacles free?
Getting free. Yeah, I wanted to ask the audience and Jane and everybody, since we were talking about IRL events, what is the most enjoyable part of IRL events for everybody? I mean, I think it's all of the above, but if we had to pick one, is it meeting internet friends? Is it free drinks? Is it the interactive experiences that we work so hard to build to sort of facilitate the first two options?
I love it. I love it. Yo, go and fill out those poll, please. It's important because the DGens will go and pick whatever question they want to pick. Jane, recently I was at an event and there was somebody, they came up, they were so excited. They pulled their phone out. They literally were reading me the website off their phone for about like 7 minutes. I let them go. And then when I finally got a breath, I was like, cool, may I respond? Like, I get they were excited, but like, when have you like tell me what's like, because like I'll tell you what, NFT NYC 2022 was wild compared to NFT NYC 2023. Like there was just people, everybody had like an angle, and you being a young lady looking like you do, what are these wild DJs coming at you with these shills?
I don't know, but I think you make a good point. Like people tell me about weird projects all the time. I also love giving out networking tips. Why the best way to network is not pitch your product, make friends. That's it. Literally ask someone, hey, what do you do? Give them a 10-second pitch. I run a Web3 marketing agency. Oh, cool. What do you do? How do you like to spend your time? Oh, are you going to any cool events? Let's go to an event together later. Not like I'm saying small talk. It's important. And then you can sort of talk about like, oh, did you get the new artifact shoes? Whatever. But don't that's the pitching of your product that happens later. Make a good impression, make a friendship, and then you could be like, hey, it was so great getting to know you, let's grab coffee. And that's when you could do this 7-minute pitch on your product. Still, I don't think you should talk for 7 minutes straight. I don't think it's good etiquette in any meeting, but you get what I'm saying. It's like and I mean, I don't know, people are weird in Web3, but most of the time I think people are just trying to have fun, go to new events. I don't have any horror stories, luckily, but just saying there's actually nothing worse when someone gives you a full pitch and you're like, I literally just, want to say what's up.
Yeah, instead of being like, hi,
Yeah.
my name is, this is my Telegram group, please join immediately. You know what I mean? So that's important. You know what I mean? Like, oh my goodness. And then people will be like, hey, here's my POAP, which is interesting because sometimes you'll later regret because that POAP maybe go to a project that then later pumps. You mentioned recently rebranding. You also changed your PFP because it's incredible. You're like promoting the glitch art event. You're promoting, like, you're getting it out there on the timeline, and it's important. Like, tell me about like, promotion and marketing. Like, you seem to like cover that really hardcore. Like, what is the difference between someone promoting an event 3 weeks out compared to 3 days out?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to be honest, it's something I'm personally struggling with because I'm doing so many events right now. So sometimes, like, I'm like, okay, how can I be promoting my event that's 2 weeks away, but then also be promoting the event that's happening tonight, and also be promoting the event that happens tomorrow? So I think from a personal standpoint, honestly, I'm just trying to figure it out, and then also not have my entire feed be like, come to this event, come to this event, come to this event. But I mean, it is really important to get the word out there. And I think actually the best technique for getting the word is get your community to support you. So it's like if I'm doing something, I think honestly, it really works to individually message people. Like, whether that's on Twitter or text, because I think those people are going to come. There's something about marketing tactics that don't scale that are so really valuable that it's like, with you, you've developed such a rapport that you're like, people are going to want to come because they want to hang out with me, and when I text my friends, they feel like, oh, I'm a little bit more obligated. He's expecting me to come. So I think that's super cool. I definitely recommend, promoting weeks, probably 3 weeks in advance is really good, because then you could sort of get the word out there. People could put it on their calendar. Sending reminders earlier to the date is absolutely great. I do think we're sort of in this period of time, especially being in New York, where the events are going to be out of control. Every day of the week, there's going to be an event. It's September in New York City. So, how do you make your event stand out? And like I said, there needs to be some sort of interactive component. I'm a huge proponent of free events. I don't like ticketed events. I don't think anyone should have to pay for an experience. There are ways to monetize events, and that's through brand sponsors, right? One of my goals is creating a huge community, making an amazing season for experience, and brands who are like, oh, I want to tap into this network. The brand should be paying to be there. People should not have to pay to be events. That doesn't mean I'm never ever going to do a ticketed event in my life, but I think if it is ticketed, like, there better be free drinks. There better be a cool DJ. There better be some merch. Like, don't make me pay to like go to a bar. Like, that's kind of unacceptable to me. I don't think that's a good experience.
Yes, and I want to point out the event that you talk about that we did at Clone X NYC. We didn't have any of that. You walked in, you got fed, you drank food, you walked away. Ava down in the audience. That's something we really hit home. We really made that our goal to be like, yo, no one walking out of there being like, man. And you wouldn't believe it, y'all. They even asked me for $5. Like, it was crazy. And I've spent so much on this asset, and I do think New York is just popping off. I think it's at this point where we're just like, we just want to start building. And you also pointed out, yeah, drinking's fun, but like, that's something also we talked about our event. We wanted to make it so people could pull up and eat some cheese, pop some grapes in their mouth if they wanted to, drink some sparkling water, because some of the people in our community, they pull up to the events at the bar, they pull their laptops out, they're just chilling there with a seltzer the whole time, and we want to make it accommodating for all. So tell me, how can I make it more accommodating for these mom and dads out here with these strollers that I haven't seen in a while, Jane?
I mean, I'm not a mom. I have my fur baby. I'd actually love to know the same question. I mean, if we're opening it to the audience, this is my baby. He'll be at the event, hopefully. He comes to a lot of events. Yeah, please follow Fox the Ferocious. He has a ETH domain, Ferocious Fox. You could give him gifts in money, crypto, or belly scratches. He's not that picky. Or treats.
Oh my gosh. Careful now. Fox is going to end up on like the most hottest Twitter spaces later. Fox is a rug. Look out. He's going to end up with like someone's going to drop 1 million Ethereum in there. Careful,
I
y'all.
mean,
BYOR.
I mean, Fox deserves all the love. His only goal is to make new friends and to help other dogs. So he's a pure good soul, and he's doxxed. He's a real dog. Anyways, what were we talking about?
No, we're
Oh,
good. We're good.
babies. Yeah, I don't know. I'd love to learn that as well. Oh, that was when Fox was a baby. I mean, I would love to be accommodating to parents out there. I think that's so cool. Like, I'm 29 years old, which means that I do want children. So that's something that's probably not that far away from me. But I'm like, wow, I have so much respect for people that are building here and have a family. Like, I can't imagine how they fit that all in. So yeah, I would love to create an event that's open to both clone holders or other PFP projects and their kids. So yeah, let us know in the comments. I don't know how this works over here.
Yeah, let us know in the comments. If you guys have been enjoying our conversation, is there any questions in the chat? Maybe Jay will let me know. If there, please, if you guys want to come up here, request up. Maybe there's something about Jane I don't know about. Maybe I haven't asked something, but I mean, I'll keep going. We'll keep talking. It's fine for me. Like, honestly, like, I used to think like if nobody requested up here to speak, I'd be like, oh, this is going to be so terrible. The show is bad. No, actually, it's good either way, y'all. I look back at these shows, it's fucking fire sometimes. Sometimes we get people up in there and they'll be like, so what do you think about 5G? And we don't want that. You know what I'm saying? I love the Fox. How do you keep the dog? I'm gonna just be super random with this. How do you keep him hush in the office? And have you ever had anybody be like, I'm allergic to dogs?
So it's actually hilarious. I mean, he's a good boy. Like, the only time he like really barks is if a big dog comes through because there's other dogs. I did once get told that he needs to stay on leash. Oh, look at him, he's so cute. But he's so good. Everyone loves him. I joke that we should, like, when it's all Web3 people, we should do a petition to free Fox, and he's kind of like the mayor. Like, or the king. I mean, I'm Empress and he is King Fox the Ferocious. He just like he demands authority, he demands respect, but he's calm. He's really I don't know, maybe I'm biased because he's mine, but he's really, really a special creature. He's very human like.
No, we're dog maxis over here. I'm all about dogs. I've talked about it many times on previous shows. Everybody's like, "Oh my God, why are we going off on dogs now?" But you know what? You're also a world traveler. You travel a lot. What
I
are
do.
some incredible travel tips that you could offer us that maybe not anybody else knows? And have you, like, how do you stay engaged while you're traveling with the crypto space?
Yeah, it's funny. So I was just in Majorca recently, which I would highly recommend if anyone's been. It's an island off of Spain. It's absolutely beautiful. And it was funny because when I was in Majorca, I was working, and this sort of moment really resonates with me. I don't know if this is a travel tip. I just sort of want to tell a funny story. And we were planning a brand launch, and I was like, and you were like, let's do it at exactly 3:33 p.m. And in my head, I was like, that's kind of annoying because it's 9 p.m. over here, but that's also a really cool time and it's angel numbers. So like, let's just do it. And then I checked into my hotel and my room number was 333. And I feel like, wow, that's a total sign. It was pretty crazy. I tweeted about it, but I just think in life, for me, I feel like there's two ways to live. There's certain people that are like, I'm gonna work my ass off at this job that I hate, and then I'm gonna go on vacation and do absolutely nothing and like forget about my life. And I've created this life for myself, and I think this aligns with a lot of people in Web3, where I'm so lucky. I could travel anytime I want, but when I'm traveling, I'm gonna be working. I'm gonna have to post things at 9 p.m. when I'm on vacation, and like I'm okay with that. And I love what I do. Like every day, I'm excited to wake up in the morning and be like, oh, I have this really cool meeting, and then I'm doing this Twitter Spaces, and I'm meeting this person, and then I'm going to this event. Like I think I live a pretty cool life, and like I think anyone who Web3 who chooses to kind of like, I'm going to run my life a little bit differently. I'm going to work on things that bring me joy. It's so worth it to me. So I don't know if that answered the question, but I think working and traveling, I think it is not as hard as you think. It just, you need to like plan ahead. Like I actually low key love working when I'm in Europe, because I'm a big day person. Like there's nothing better than being able to like wake up and not get any messages and then get to go on like a walk on the beach or do something. And then it's like, okay, I have my calls, but they're like late at night where, the sun is down. But how cool is it to be able to spend the morning on the beach and then still get your work done? So I think you just have to kind of flow with it, and also be responsible. I think that's important too. Like I think there's nothing worse than they're like, oh yeah, Jane's in Spain, she's not going to respond. Like I think I'm still pretty responsive no matter where I am in the globe.
Oh my gosh, yeah, you're incredibly responsive, y'all. She's like literally replying to us in this Telegram group that we're doing this event about, and then like we're on a call the other day, and she's like, "I'm sorry, I've been flaky." You know what I mean? It's just like, no, like you're doing exactly what you love, and that's something that stands out to me. You know what I mean? Like eventually, like it's going to pay off.
Honestly,
All of it'll pay off.
well, it's funny. I think I was more flaky because I was so busy in New York. Like I'm good on vacation when I don't have a lot going on. I've been like, flaky isn't the right word, but I've been slower at responding because I've like been at physical events, running around doing my job. Like on vacation, I have all the time in the world to like respond to DMs. It's
You
funny.
mentioned the 333 thing. I think I love it. Skidley down there in the audience. He's been here literally for 48 episodes. No coincidences in Web3, right, Skidley? We've said it, I don't know, I think 48 times on this show because there are no coincidences. And that was cool that we just launched that at the same time. I honestly think I might have gotten that number in my head just because of like what OD
Yeah,
Labs is doing.
why did you even say that? To be honest, I didn't really know why you wanted a 333 launch. I was like kind of trying to Google it. I was like, is 333 a Web3 thing? And then I was like, it's angel numbers. You know about that?
No, see, I think
Can
it's
you
because
pull
of the
that
OD.
up?
It's
Jay, pull
because
up
of
the Google 333. Just Google it.
I got to shout out Sophie, Web3 Max in the office. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? He's doing the OD Labs thing with Tetra, and the 333 thing just got stuck in my head with their
Uh,
R33 thing they do. So that was totally, they got me, y'all. They straight up like got me. They manipulated me. They got me in my brain. Hey, I got a question about to you. What's up with you scheduling all your calls at 2 p.m.? What's up with
I
that?
don't. Do I do that?
Is it for me only? I mean,
I don't know, Jay. Normally, I think like 2 p.m. is a good time for me because I have a lot of like intense morning calls, and then like then stuff in the afternoon. 2 p.m. just feels like a good time. I don't know. It's after lunch. When do you want me to talk to you? I'm not going to
no,
talk
I
to
was
you at
just
8 a.m.
curious.
I'm not an 8 a.m. person, and like after 4, I start to fade. So you got me at my best if you're talking to me at 2 p.m.
Yo, this is why you and Jay get along. You know, you need that good night's sleep, that good energy. You know what
Oh
I mean?
my
Like
God.
the night mask, and
Mhm.
then the earplugs.
I'm
Like,
not an earplugs girl, but okay.
oh, okay, well, night. Hey, she didn't say no to the night mask, y'all.
The
So
night
the
mask,
alpha.
like sometimes.
Well, okay. Well, when it comes to taking care of your health, Jane, you seem like you're doing it. Are you hitting the gym? Do you have a smoothie? There's a lot of gym people
Ooh, yeah.
going.
I mean,
What's your routine like? You know?
so I'm really into solid core. I don't know if you guys have it, but it's like Pilates. I'm a big Pilates girl. I love playing tennis. Fun fact, like if anyone wants to challenge me to tennis, I would be thrilled. I'm looking for more tennis partners in New York City. That's like my sport. I also like, I mean, this is more of a winter thing. I'm a big skier. Like, I love being active. That's really important to me. Like, I'm actually pretty good about like touching grass, right? I'm like a Web3 girly, but I also like want to be active and do sports and like live a healthy lifestyle because I really do believe that if you're spending all day in front of a screen, that is not good for you. And then you can't think about anything else and you're just in an echo chamber of Twitter. So, like, I do really value disconnecting. I live by the West Side Highway. I love going on a walk with Fox on the West Side Highway. Now that I have Station 3, like, I feel once again so grateful about where I am in the world because I'll wake up and I'll take Fox on a 20-minute walk and we get to the office and like that's my little morning routine and it's like it's so fun and I love having him with me and meeting all my friends. It's just like life is so like seriously life is so good right now and I'm really so grateful and I'll say it 100 times. Part of it is because I've finally found an incredible community in New York of all people who are passionate about similar things as me.
That's amazing because I after hearing about your work history, right? You've had all these like really esteemed corporate jobs, right? So
Mm-hmm.
how does that compare to like now when you're sort of like, on your own and you're doing your own thing? Obviously, it feels more meaningful and you love it, but are there anything you miss about the corporate life?
Huh. It's really interesting that you say that. I think there have been times when I maybe missed it more. To be honest, like I've been sort of running my own business 2 to 3 years now, so I feel way more like comfortable with it. I think when you're an entrepreneur, the highs are incredibly high, but the lows are incredibly low. Like when I close a major deal and I'm like, wow, I did that. Did this for myself is amazing. But then it's like I lose a client or I lose a contract and then I have to you know, end that contract with someone on my team. There's nothing worse than me when I've had to sort of part ways from amazing people because of factors outside of my control. I think that's like been one of the hardest things of running a business, and then also, yeah, once again, like being in like the fate of the market, right? Things are down, the client isn't the same, and that's so hard. And there's some days where like I wish I just got when you work a corporate job, you get paid for showing up, you know? And like we all have those days where you're like, I don't really feel like working today. So I'm just gonna like show up and do the bare minimum and like click clack on my laptop. Like, like there's sometimes that's kind of nice when you're having a bad day or dealing with life stuff. Like as a founder, it's like no one's gonna help you. I mean, yeah, you could have an amazing team, but it's like if I'm dealing with personal stuff, but I have a major client call, like I have to put that aside. So I think that's sort of the give and take, right?
I was leaving it open for Jay to reply back. I was just sitting here being like, I'm so pumped. I'm so glad everybody came up today to listen to Jane. You know, she's not always on spaces and like, cause she's out there working, y'all. She's actually doing stuff. She's building. She's putting the feet to pavement. It's important. You know what I mean? I'm excited. It makes me want to just jump down on my train and run down to the city right now. And I've done a great job hosting because I had my question highlighted next was, what are the best places to go skiing?
Oh, I mean, it depends what you want to ski. Like, I mean, I love Colorado or skiing out west. I just did a big trip to Whistler last year, which was super cool in Canada. On the East Coast, I grew up skiing in Stowe, Vermont. There's not the best skiing near New York, unfortunately. But yeah, also if anyone, I'm looking for ski partners. I know there was a clone ski trip last year. I'm pretty sure in Park City, and I was trying so hard to make it happen, but it didn't work out. But yeah, like let's like arrange that earlier next time. Also, one thing is like people are so last minute, but if you guys are like, let's go skiing in like February and let's book it now, I'd be able to go. Like, come on. Let's activate. Maybe we could plan it. Actually, I'm not gonna say that here because I have too much on my plate. But if someone else wants to plan it, I'll co-host a Clone ski trip.
Yo, yeah, I can't agree with that more. And this is a thing that you talked about earlier. I'm listening, I'm paying attention about how you said you jump into people's messages. Like I'll send literally letters like in the email. You know what I mean? I'll say, hey, I'll like go to my neighbor's house and I'm like, you like art? There's an art show this week and y'all
Yeah.
link up and go. We do that, that kind of thing. And I think that's important that you pointed that out. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, you can't like mass scale that, right? And like blast it out to your people all the time, because then they'll be like, all right, man, what kind of knives are you selling me this week? What kind of meat are you selling me this week? Yeah, shout out CloneX Utah, I believe. If Anya,
Yeah, that's
yeah,
correct.
Queens of the Clones. I think they're doing something. I hope soon, but yeah, that would be incredible. What? No snowboarding? You don't like snowboarding?
Me? Are you talking to me? I
Yeah.
thought.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I used to snowboard when I'm younger. I'm just better at skiing. I'm not, as long as you could keep up on a snowboard, we could be friends. But like snowboarders, sometimes, they have to unbuckle the boot and they don't like doing the bumps. Like, you got to be able to hang.
Yo, Jane is fiery up here. You gotta be able to hang, and like just saying that like snowboarders can't come out of their boots in time. Man, that is wild, Jane. Jane, is there anything that I haven't covered here? Because sometimes close to the end of the show, with 7 minutes left to go, we get a little long-winded. Sometimes something comes up crazy. Before I give you the second to the last word, I wanted to make sure that we covered everything, because yo, Jane takes the reins, y'all. Like literally, she commands the ship. Like I'll walk in there, I'll be like, all right, let's do it. She's like, we're gonna do it this way. I'm like, yes, ma'am. I just sit down, like, okay, let's do it. So Jane,
Do I do
go ahead.
that? I don't know. I just feel like, ooh, this is actually a really good note. Something that I've thought about a lot lately is like, I definitely view myself as a creative, but I think one of my strengths is like ability to execute. And execution is so important. And like someone said this quote once and it really resonated with me, which is, vision without execution is hallucination. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like then you're just making stuff up. So like I very much want to execute on everything I'm doing. And if like once I commit to something, it's like we're going full speed. I'm just gonna take charge because I know I'm able to deliver on what I promise. And I think that if you are someone who's capable of execution, now is the time to do it. You have to step up. Does that make sense?
Proof of concept. I could not agree more. And I just think it's cool to like look back and be like, hey, I did this and this. And I even have more things that I'm building up here. And I see people in the audience I haven't talked to in a while. I know that you're building and you're working too. We're all connected. We can always hop into each other's messages. I'm glad to see everybody healthy. I'm glad to see everybody spending some of that sand in your hourglass with us today. We appreciate you. Oh my goodness, y'all are making me feel good. And that is very true. You know what I mean? Because you really never know where this is going to go. But I'm like just buckling down and going through it. Like when you get on this app, right? You're like, wow, like why hasn't it sunk yet? Like the ship is still, you're like, the ship's still bobbing. There's still people clinging to it. But then you go to these IRL events, right, Jane? And you're just like, what are these people talking about? Like we're over here clinking glasses and we're having fun, to the point where I'm like putting my arm around people and I'm like, let's go over here because it's a little too loud over here. Let's get a little more intimate. Like shout out Visceral Glitch. I'm pumping our show, our event,
Yes, it's gonna be
September
so. I'm like
27th.
actually so excited for that event.
And that
It's
happened
gonna be
with him.
so fun.
That happened with Daniel and I. We were there. We were shouting. Everybody was yelling over each other, which is fine. You know, that's what happens. And I'm like, let's move over here. Let's get intimate. And then we had a one-on-one call. And now look what's happening, because we just vibe together. And that's you don't force it. You know what I'm saying? You don't force it. Jane, what's the best way that people can get a hold of you? And what's the
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can message me on Twitter. I honestly don't have notifications on, so I can't say it's the fastest. I use Telegram a lot at Jane V Herman. I know this is so anti Web3 of me, but I'm actually way more responsive on Instagram, also at Jane V Herman. If you want to like get a hold of me, yeah, I also love chatting with anyone. So seriously, if you want to chat, if you want to collaborate, and like I said, like I'm very open to like new event ideas and like I just mentioned, I'm always down to execute. So if you have something that you're like, I've been dreaming of doing this, but I've sort of haven't known how to get it off the ground, I'm also happy to like help you get stuff off the ground. Also, obviously, my business is marketing. If you need marketing or know someone who needs marketing, please give me a shout out, Dart Studio. But yeah, like literally open to anything, or tennis, skiing. Just want to be friends, want to grab a coffee, want to go to the dog park. I'm your girl.
Yo, hey, Jane is super friendly. Don't be a creep. Anybody, that goes for everybody.
Don't be a creep. But
Jane, if I listen back to this and I'm just finding this out there on the interwebs and I'm like, oh my God, I just moved here. I'm going to school in the city. I'm going to school in one of the boroughs. I want to go hang out at Station 3. How do I get in there? How do I, what do I do? I'm not going to go up there and say, I know Jane because I heard her from
yeah. Well, I mean, if you follow Station 3 on Twitter, like Bob Lucas, who's the founder and running Twitter, like he'll post all the events. You just sign up through Luma and like you could go. So they're really open to anyone. Like there's no sort of exclusivity there. Like if you want to check an event, you could check an event. We'll be promoting the Glitch event on Twitter, so you can follow our Twitters. Once again, you can message me if you have any questions, or like, I also think people go alone all the time. So if your hesitation to not coming to this event is like, oh, I don't know anyone, it's like, that's the point. And like I said, if you reach out to me personally, I'll make sure to like meet you and like introduce you to people. And I'm all about connection.
No, you really are, because you got me having FOMO. And it goes back to another point that you were talking about I don't tell people when I'm going to an event unless I'm actually going to it. Not because they want to meet me because I'm like some fucking celebrity, y'all. It's because if Joe is going, I want to go because Joe is going, because when Joe goes, man, we have a good time. We have a good conversation. Something happens, right? And then when I go there and Joe doesn't show up, I'm like, man, Joe's not showing up. So I don't be that guy in the group chat to say, I'm going all the time. So if I'm going, I'm definitely going. So the 20th, we're going to that event as well.
Mm-hmm.
Putting
Thank
on
you.
the
Thank
ladies.
you. I
Putting on the
appreciate it.
ladies. We got a lot to cover here. Putting on the ladies, the 20th. I'll definitely be down there for that event, because you can't go support someone and then expect it, or not support someone, then expect them to show up to your event. Don't be that person now.
No,
And Jane, are you going to drop this cool logo for this new website that you said don't share right away? Because she was like super, like, she's like, listen, JPEG J, don't share this. Don't share this.
Oh
It's
yeah,
not
yeah.
ready yet.
Well, that's actually the final thing is we just did a bit of a rebrand for Dart. It's like sort of we did like a little bit of soft launch. If you want to pull up my Twitter, I love this new logo. It was designed by Mateo, who also works at Station 3. Feel free to pull up Mateo's Twitter because he deserves. Like I just like it because it's really clean and simple. It still has the blue, which resonates with me. And I think also about what we want in this logo is it like we work with a lot of other brands, so we wanted something that can naturally fit into other branding rather than having such a really distracting branding of our own. And I like it. It feels soothing to me. Yeah, just sort of like also by the way, the original version of Dart was actually after digital art. But so we used to have a lowercase d, and people would always be like Dart, we can't pronounce it. I'm like, no, it's just Dart. And now Dart actually means targeted marketing and targeted campaigns, and or like messaging that always hits the mark. Like I think there's a lot of play on like the target and the role there, and I really just I like the word Dart. I like the color blue. It like I'm not changing the name. It's a brand that I feel like I'm going to have for the rest of my life, honestly.
I love that, and we love finding out about how things get named, the branding of things. It's so funny how things do get named. How sometimes the name that sounds great to the creator at first, and then someone's like, "Did you see what you say?" Even me, Boob Archer, right? I didn't even think that it would say Boob Archer. I didn't even think of it.
Oh,
No,
I've
I
never
didn't,
even thought of that. Now I'm never gonna be able to look at you the same.
because I just capitalized BOO, and I was just thinking everybody would be civil out here, and I was
Oh,
mistaken. But you know what? I like it because it's kind of like a sifter. It's a filter, right? Some people will be like, "Oh, boo botcher," and I'm like, "Oh, this is my people right here, right?" And then I'll have the, "Oh, boo botcher, yeah, man." I'm like, "Oh yeah, dude," or guy or girl, you know what I mean? I get both, y'all. And hey, with that, Jay's gonna, if you, I don't want to make you work, Jane, but if you drop the link to the Mateos thing down here in our
oh
chat,
yeah.
Jay, Jay can
I
pin it.
just think he's amazing, and I really he just moved here from Italy, and I just want to give him the love that he deserves. You know, when someone does good work for you, it's so important to give them all the love. And like I said, with anyone I work with, always about supporting and empowering creators and artists. It's super important to me.
Yes, I could not agree more. Jane, this has been incredible. We're definitely going to have you back. You already know we're going to keep collaborating IRL. I'm excited about the event, the 27th that Jane and I are working on this month. Also, the 20th event that she's doing. Tune into both of them. Come in. Don't just tune in. Be there IRL. And like she said, they're free. Pull up. You never know who you're going to meet. If you've been here listening, look at all of the incredible connections I've made. Jane and I took it all the way from a Google Hangout call to having an office space outside of the Bull in Wall Street for free, y'all. It's crazy. Don't tell me Web3 is dead. Don't tell me NFTs are dead. They're not dead. Not at all.
It's
So with that,
you know, it's just like finding people who believe and being with the authentic people, good things will happen. That's all I have to say. I'll let you close out now. I'll let you close out.
No, Cook. I mean, I'm pumped. Like every time I know I'm gonna get off this call, Jay's gonna get off this call. We're gonna be like, okay, what now? Where are we going now? Like, you know what? I'll get in my DMs. I'll start replying to these DMs. I'll stay motivated out here. It really keeps me going because, like, you know, if I was just chilling at any other job, and no offense to anybody's job out there, you know, it kind of sometimes it gets mundane for me personally. I've done it. I've done the 9 to 5. I appreciate it, but I'm trying to do my best out here. But what you said about the highs and the lows come. And hey, stay off Twitter Spaces when the lows come. I learned that too. With that, y'all, I want to give a big shout out, Rug Radio. You already know, Artifact Creators, baby. We're still holding it down. I love my Artifact community. Jane got to see those CRLs last night. They've been landing all over the place. The shoes are real. Yo, It ain't a rug. We're fucking rubbing these shoes on the rug. So kick rocks, everybody, in the timeline with all that FUD. It's all about conviction out here. Once you're convicted on what you're doing and yourself, man, the rest is history. Everybody, please be careful out there when you're walking. Don't run to these links. Please be careful. It's wild. It's still spammy out there, like she said. It's still scammy out there. There's still people selling snake oil, and it won't clear up your respiratory issues like it does in Starfield. This is not a video game. You only get one life with that. You know, so yeah, we covered everything here. I can't wait for tomorrow because I got to shout out Upscale ETH in the audience for buying us CloneX NYC some tickets to the Mets. I know the Mets ain't been playing well, but whatever. We're going to get some glizzies down, y'all. I'm excited. There might be something up on the Jumbotron. I didn't say that. I don't know. This space might have been recorded, but who knows? There's alpha everywhere. Keep it locked. Keep it plugged for next week, episode 48. With me, your host, Boo, and my incredible host, JPEG J. And I ain't never going to blow out my fucking vocal cords, guys, because I did 5 years of summer camp. With that, have a great weekend. In Web3. It's actually now.